Welcome to SkuberFacts. I am Scuba. These are my facts. This isn't an episode of the SkuberFacts show, but it's just a conversation. I'm not really sure how this is going to tie into just general content that I'm making, but let's just do it anyway because I'm here with the real Wadey, Wadey.
No, then, all good.
Hey, yeah, man. So, this is the way I was looking at it, right? We're a little bit late to the Mandalorian review party.
Yeah.
But me and you were going to have this conversation anyway, so I'm just figuring let's talk about it. Let's have some Star Wars talk, and then let's just put it out there. You know what I mean?
We've done well all back, to be fair, but you watched it in real time as the weeks come out, and I waited till they were all sort of saved up and watched them all in one go. Is that where you prefer watching?
I prefer watching as weekly installments.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to go back to weekly installments.
I do agree, but I would probably still do what I do. I'd probably wait and try not to see spoilers because I think that is the best way to do it for those who want to watch it that way. But then I like to watch them all after, so I'd be willing for a compromise.
The thing is, though, there's no compromises. The compromise is going weekly, I guess, then having to wait. Yeah, I see what you're saying because if you want to binge watch it, there's nothing stopping you waiting until the end and binge watching it. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I feel like part of the success. Can you imagine if just they dropped the whole season in one go, and it would have all be out there. Instead, they had, how many episodes were there? Eight episodes. Instead, they had 8 weeks of memes, of fan theory, of updates.
100%. That's why I would prefer it that way. And even though I lose out, so it's not it's not a full meeting halfway or anything like. It is the better way to do it. I think. I saw a few memes and maybe I got a few little hints and tips, but that's my fault because I want to watch it to the end.
Yeah, sure,
in my sort of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, let's jump in.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Okay, so...
how did you find it compared to Series 1? Series 2, that would be good stuff. I think Series 1 was better.
Do you know what, bro? I don't think I could say... I don't think I could differentiate Season 1 from Season 2. For me, it's 16 episodes in a row. And if anything... maybe... There was less expectations with Season 1 because, well, there was literally no expectations. No one knew what it was going to be. It started off and it was like, wow, actually, this is really good. You know what I mean? Because
and not just no expectation. I think a lot of people thought it was not going to be very good.
Exactly.
Not even like, just okay, just not bad. Do you know what I mean? Some people obviously are not happy with the direction a lot of Star Wars was going at that time.
No, exactly. And that's something we'll come back to. Let's have a Mandalorian talk first, then we'll talk a little bit more general Star Wars.
Yeah. But that did affect that, like you say, that first series dropping, and everyone was like, wow. The people who were maybe negative flipped completely.
Yeah, man. If anything, I was worried Season 2 wasn't going to be able to deliver because, maybe Season 1 was catching lightning in a bottle, you know what I mean? And maybe Season 2, but the saying is literally, you don't do that twice, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed Season 2. I felt like it linked in to the Star Wars universe a lot more. I feel like Season 1 was a lot more standalone. It was all about Din Djarin. It was setting the scene, and then Season 2 opened it up a little bit more to the Star Wars universe. And I would imagine moving forward, it's going to open up even further into the Star Wars universe.
Exponentially now.
Sure.
That is why it is a difficult decision because I think Series 2 had better moments, and obviously certain characters coming in which will come up later on. Obviously there's a few, but I think that's why it was maybe the first series was better because it maybe felt like 8 episodes of a story, where the second series was finishing that story, but there was some episodes that were just opening new stories for a potential series, which was not a problem.
Sure.
Some of them were the best episodes, but they weren't really much to do with the Mandalorian. Mandalorian was there almost as just there. Sometimes, which is not a bad thing.
No.
There's a couple episodes.
He was almost secondary to the plot of the episode, wasn't he?
Yeah, which was cool. Because it's a bigger universe and it's not just his little thing going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to run through episode by episode and let's dissect it all. Do you know what I mean? There's other places and other shows that people have done that. So let's just talk about what we liked. It's something that I really liked from episode 9. So so episode 9. So that's the first episode of Season 2. One thing I really liked was how they built on the Sand People. Sand People from 1977 in the first Star Wars. Sand People have been these animals, these more beast than man,
Yeah.
You know, whereas this showed that, you know, obviously that's true, but it showed.
But why? Why that's true?
Yeah, and it showed this side of them that they've got a civilization. In episode 2, Attack of the Clones, we saw Anakin go back and kill a bunch of them because they kidnapped his mother. You know, and we saw that they actually, you know, they live in camps and they've got some form of society. But this was next level.
It shows why they had them systems in place. They've evolved them over thousands of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's a pretty harsh environment. So there's a reason why some of these that might not seem a bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, why they have to be a bit more ruthless maybe sometimes.
Yeah. And also the crate dragon. What did you think of the crate dragon?
Yeah, no, great, man.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good episode. I mean, it was a bit like the first episode of the first series. Though once like, if we're going to be honest, it was like a similar sort of storyline where he's got to help a set of people to, you know what I mean, take on something big to retrieve it. Was it an egg on the first one and this that? So
yeah, I don't think that was the first episode, was it?
Was it not?
I don't think so. But yeah, but I see the parallel.
It was a similar storyline.
Yeah, with the Mudhorn where Grogu lifts it up.
Yeah.
There's definitely a parallel. But you know what? Something I noticed, like when you're a gamer and you've been playing games for a long time, I feel like some of these episodes felt like levels of a game.
Yeah, they were quest-like.
You know, it was quest-based. It was an objective. Go to this person, speak to this person, find this, go to them, retrieve, bring it back, get the reward. You know, that was just something. I mean, it's not a good or bad thing. It's something I noticed, really.
No, definitely, and that sort of explains what I've just said. Really, it wasn't a complaint when I'm saying it was similar to an episode. I felt like it was similar when I was watching these. I feel like I've been here before, but that's just because every planet he goes to, there's going to be some people that need a big thing killing.
But then I would imagine in the work that he was, well, currently, whether he's still involved with bounty hunting, that's essentially life. You go to a planet, you get a job, you get paid, and that's the job. So I suppose that resonates. You've got to build a storyline around that. I mean, if he was a peacekeeper delivering aid, then the storyline will probably be around delivering aid to helpless people. You know, what did you think of Frog Lady?
No, I did like that. I mean, I liked it when one thing that stuck in my mind. I liked it when they were when she just decided to get on all four, start running and stuff. And I don't know why I like that. It's just because it feels so real. Like these creatures, we got to imagine then as sort of standing on 2 feet and then talking, and then flip onto he's going to run faster on four forms. That's just stuck out for me. I don't know why. I just loved how it flipped. She flipped to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that whole thing was quite cool. I mean, remember at the time everyone making a big thing of Grogu eating a few eggs, and it was like it ended the species. When I watched it, you just had a few. There was loads left, and they were having babies and that. So I don't really get that.
It was never mentioned that it was the end of the species. It was just
it was her bloodline.
Yeah, it's just that particular female.
Yeah. Her bloodline, yeah. So I never really got that. Was it just people?
I think it was people finding something was popular and they had to find a way to try and discredit it, wasn't it? But I'll tell you something that I did find interesting. And maybe this is the male in me talking, but a lot of the criticism over the Grogu eating the eggs was from a female perspective because they were her last eggs. But there was nobody talking about how the man had gone off to another world to build a life for the family, and they were also going to be his kids too. I mean, maybe there's an argument that he could have got a new mate. I suppose that would be the argument. That's almost like a little political message there as well, isn't it? Because that's quite a common occurrence in the world right now, isn't it, as well, to be fair? A lot of males move to countries and then the wife and kids come with them after it's set up, like, to be fair. So that's jumping back to a lot of real life thing. But no, definitely. But he was somewhere where he only could get there by flying at normal speed, was he? What was the issue? That's why it took ages, wasn't it? They couldn't go to hyperspace.
So he was setting someone up for a right for get his lady to him. You know what I mean?
I know, right? I mean, I presume that had something to do with the eggs. Was that right? The eggs.
The eggs killed them. But then they were crashing a lot and stuff. That's one thing because I do like trying to find problems, I suppose. But I don't know. When they were in the cave, I felt like that spider put one of its arms through a glass panel, and then they just sealed the ship behind him and flew off. But how did he fix the glass? I don't know if that was an error. I thought I spotted that because he could damage all the back, and then they just sealed the door.
Yeah,
so that was just airlocked into that. Yeah. But didn't he smash the glass? Did the foot come in the cabin?
I'd have to watch that again. I do remember. I kind of remember that happening, but
not a big thing. I just think that I noticed.
Or was it cracking? Did he not actually break through?
I feel like it come in. Harry.
Yeah, I'll have to check that up. But yeah, no. But then I suppose, I mean, I'm not sure what. I think they call it plasteel or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's what. But maybe it's repairable. I don't know. Maybe
What did you think of that sort of? Did you like that with the what them guys called and stuff? The officers and that, like who saved him in the end?
The New Republic pilots.
Yeah. How do you think how they were sort of brought? Yeah, do you like how they were sort of played that and stuff?
Yeah, it was cool. It's a little bit weird that the New Republic are filling the gap that the Empire had.
There's always that's the thing when everyone tries to change sort of political systems a lot. A lot of power vacuums have to be filled, don't they? Still,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't really know. It's a difficult one because obviously the Empire was a tyrannical regime. It was obey or be crushed.
Yeah.
And whereas the New Republic is essentially democracy, which is what the Senate was before the Empire. So for them to be so heavily enforcing, I don't know. It's a
little bit. It's even can be a little more complex than that, because it's more like liberty and democracy. Because you can still vote for tyranny, can't you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because the people in the Senate still got votes for the tyranny.
That's how it happened. I mean.
Yeah,
you
can vote yourself into tyranny,
that's what happened. I mean, Palpatine had the support of the Senate. They extended his special powers and it enabled him to take over. And even during
that's why that line's so good, isn't it? I think we have spoke about this. The people don't want freedom; they want order and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So people end up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Senate was still operational as well. The Senate was still a thing during the Empire. I'm not sure to what extent and how long that went on for, because it seems a little bit counterintuitive. But for a long time, I get the impression that the Empire was kind of doing what it was doing behind the Senate's back. That must have stopped at some point. But that'd be something to look into for another time, I think.
Yeah,
but
interesting. I mean, and you know much more than that than me.
What do you think of Bo-Katan and the? I'm not actually sure what's Bo-Katan's group of Mandalorians actually called.
I'm not sure. Is that said in the animated series, like, which I haven't watched, like, but is that saying that where her character is like?
Yeah, I mean, in the Clone Wars, Bo-Katan was Satine's sister. Satine, well, both of them are directly related to Mandalorian royalty, but Satine was more of a politician. And did Bo-Katan join Death Watch or Splinter of Death Watch? Children of the Watch. Oh, no, Children of the Watch is Din Djarin. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm just throwing out random Star Wars facts and hoping something's right.
No. So I don't know loads about it, obviously, because I haven't seen that. But obviously, I've seen it still. I know the general. I mean, I am a fan of Star Wars. I wasn't a massive fan of the sequels, but that's it for me. So I got. So maybe I just wasn't following as much as I could, but I do generally like the whole thing. But I haven't seen them series, so I will be watching them.
Yeah, they're good.
From what I've seen, people's reaction to it, like, there's a really good transfer from animation to real. I mean, is he played by the same character?
Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, Katie
Sackhoff. And then plays the person, and it's supposed to be, it all looks perfect. Like,
it's good.
It looks like they've done a really good, seamless transition. They've done it well, to be fair. So well done, John.
No, absolutely.
To her and everyone, like, it seems like they've done it really well.
I mean, I don't want to go through it episode by episode. Do you know what I mean? They were all good, and we could talk about them.
I mean, one thing about that one though, I think Mando was a bit soft for falling for that. Again, I think
with the monster on the ship. Yeah, a little bit.
Bit soft, Mando there, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, but I suppose it kind of reinforces that he's not perfect. No. He's just a person. You got to think. How would you react in a situation like that? I mean, you'd be skeptical, wouldn't you? But then I suppose maybe if you're preoccupied enough with the greater mission and thinking that this was going to get there, that you just kind of maybe, I'll indulge these people, whatever gets me there quicker. You know what I mean? But but I agree. It was obviously.
I think he'd be standing off ship on his own a little bit, just looking out at the sea, thinking. I don't think he'd be stood right by the big cage with the massive animal. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree. As a viewer watching this, I was thinking, this isn't good. Just look at the way the guy's talking.
We've seen it, Mando knows that.
You know what I mean? Look at the way the guy's talking. He's like, just a little bit closer. Just.
So, but what you
hey, take the kid.
Bo-Katan couldn't really drop in then if he was standing somewhere peacefully like. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a story device just to introduce a new character. You know?
I think this. I'm having a few jabs, but I think this is why maybe I did like the first series more. It seemed like a few more of these things in series 2 just to get the wheels in motion on a few things, which was cool, which was enjoyable. But yeah, maybe felt a little bit less organic to me. Like
yeah.
If I'm saying well done, and I'm not saying well done when I think I should. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, right? It's a big well done for the whole season, isn't it? You know what I mean? So
definitely.
It's okay. It's okay to have little bits that either you're like, I could have done without that, or it could have been better. You know, it's. I mean, it's probably.
I think they're all just points to my greater argument that I think personally Series 1 was better. That's all I can think. I think the little things like that make me think, even though Series 2 had better moments and characters probably.
I mean, it's a valid opinion, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be worse. You could be just slagging it off because it's not the original trilogy from 1970s and 80s.
What is it? The opera version? What is it?
The what?
What is the original? There's some people. It's not even the original version. Is it the original? Like there's a certain cut and stuff as well.
No, absolutely. There's people who will only watch the theatrical releases. No, crazy. Boba Fett, man.
Yeah, man. What do you think first? Because he's your man.
I mean, I pretty much. I mean, I brought it up during the SkuberFacts show, and
cool.
but it was great. I was getting to a point where I was starting to think, man, is Din Djarin more my favourite? You know?
Yeah.
Boba Fett, he was a great character, but he didn't do that much, and he had this unceremonious, death, as we thought at the time. I mean, but then around the time I started thinking that, geez, did he come back with a vengeance? And I'm liking it, and all the other stuff aside, all the cool stuff and whatever, all the fighting and whatever. For me, that last scene after the credits, have you seen that? That last scene where he takes Bib Fortuna out and sits on the throne. Cool. I don't need Boba Fett to be a good guy. No.
Well, he's definitely not.
I also don't want him to be a bad guy because I never thought that Boba Fett was a bad guy. I mean, in the original trilogy, if you're looking at it good or bad, he was a bad guy because he was against the heroes. But he was also just a guy earning a living. And that's a bit of a difficult concept for us in this society, because in this society, if you're not one of the good guys thinking in the way of the good guys think, then you're automatically a criminal, you're automatically a bad guy. But
it's the Wild West, man.
Yeah, man. In the Star Wars universe, he's just a guy making a living, and if that means
if it's the Wild West, he'd be killed. He'd be dead if not. He'd be dead by now if he didn't. You know what I mean?
But like I said, I also didn't want to seem, full-fledged. I see the error of my ways. You know what I mean? That wasn't fitting with the character, and I don't think Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau would have gone down that route with him. Yeah. So I kind of like that they threw in that last scene to say, okay, he might have helped out the heroes of this story.
Yeah.
But make no mistake,
that's only because he felt like he's a man of his word, and she's promised that. What's the character called? I can't think of the female that's with him.
Fennec.
She's got promised herself to him, and then he promised that to the Mandalorian. That was the deal, wasn't he? Sure. That shows. I mean, obviously, even bad guys. You know what I mean? People can be proper. Good guys can not enact on the promises. You know what I mean? But bad guys will. You know what
I mean, I suppose that's why that good guy bad guy thing is blurred, isn't it? Really, I mean,
100%. He's the yin and yang, and he's like there's a little good in the bad, and there's a little bad in the good.
Well, and I think even less than that. It's such a blurred grey area. If you're doing good things but achieving them in bad ways,
do you know what I mean?
Where's that line on the spectrum? If you're a priest but you're abusing kids, where's that line on the spectrum? You know what I mean? So good guys and bad guys is something that doesn't really play out very well in the real world, does it? But
I think Mike, I did want to ask you, I think he was a lot more dark and ruthless than I was expecting him going to be. So I think you've answered that a little bit. Obviously, you did like that lad, you know what I mean? But I think a lot more compared to the character we've seen like in the films and stuff like. He come out. But then is that because he was living with the Sand people and that, and obviously they're ruthless, man. Once he hadn't been living with them for a while, ain't that the storyline as far as I know?
I mean, essentially anything that has come before is no longer canon. So the Book of Boba Fett, which is going to be the next series out in December 2021, as far as my understanding was, it was going to show Boba's story up until the point he meets Mando. But I think I must have either that's changed or I misunderstood, because I think it's going to be I think it's just a Boba Fett story. But I thought
that's why he had the robes on, and he had their weapon. That staff he used was one of their weapons.
Yeah, very likely, bro. I mean, reading between the lines, but nothing's confirmed. I mean, he could have jumped. He could have jumped him.
Cool.
You know what I mean? He could have killed a bunch of them and stole the robes and weapons. So nothing's at this point. Nothing's confirmed how he got out of the Sarlacc, and how the Jawas got his armor. Do you know what I mean? So nothing's confirmed at this point. But so that's going to be real interesting to find out. I'm saying that I don't want to run through episode by episode, but it's kind of hard not to, because there's just so much I want to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's what this series was. Though every episode was for a reason. Again, for a different sort of reason, not in a bad way. Just it seemed very specific to achieve a goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey,
a lot more so.
One thing we did miss out, gone straight to Boba Fett, we missed out Ahsoka Tano. What were your thoughts on Ahsoka? Because, I mean,
awesome, man.
Were you aware of Ahsoka before this?
Yeah, no, only necessarily the visuals and stuff. Because I'm probably less into Star Wars than you, but I'm like with sort of things like Pokemon or Star Wars or these things like I make sure I do educate myself as much as I can with these sort of laws, even if I'm not the biggest fan in the world, you know what I mean? Because I enjoy the lore and everything behind it, so now obviously I've not seen her in anything properly. I've just seen the visuals of her. But I thought she was amazing. I did love that episode. You're
gonna enjoy watching the Clone Wars then, because I mean she's essentially the main character. Let's not say but one of the main characters. The Clone Wars is kind of her and Anakin's story, throw in there with Obi-Wan. So that's really good. But
I mean, the white lightsabers are cool, aren't they?
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, and it's also she's the closest thing to a grey Jedi. I mean, grey Jedi essentially don't exist, but she's essentially a light side Force user who's not a Jedi, which is weird because the episode's called The Jedi.
Yeah.
And she's referred to as a Jedi, and she doesn't correct anybody. So that makes me wonder. I wonder at some point has she re-picked up the title of Jedi? Is she, because as it was left, she left the Jedi Order.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something that's interesting. But she's got a season. She's got a show of her own coming out.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, that was a good episode. Again, it was just an episode for itself as well. Really wanted and stuff, which is not an issue. It was like you say, like a mission for him. He had to go and achieve that next goal. But
it was kind of like a precursor for her season. It was almost the first episode. The introduction to her season. Kind of. I thought that she was going to be a lot less involved. I thought they were going to. Maybe she'd have 5 minutes screen time and then
straight off the bat.
The opening scene was her, kicking ass.
It was good when I remember she used the powers to snap a branch somewhere over there. They turned out, she come over here, man. Then obviously slash with the tree and then push that. It was really good, man, really good.
I'll tell you something I liked as well.
There was a good fight between them two people at the end as well, with the spear made out of, what's the armor, what's the metal for Beskar, man. I mean, it's cool how much kiss he's got getting into Mando, and I'm enjoying him picking up stuff. He has a good character. He's getting a lot of loot, man. He's getting a lot of loot.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Keeps on checking them chests after every quest.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. But it's like watching Zelda, isn't it, man? He keeps getting key items, man.
I saw. There were some people that criticised Ahsoka Tano's like they would have said she would have beaten that woman easily. She held off Grievous a couple of times in the Clone Wars, and she's much stronger than that. But, and not to mention, in Rebels, she's a really strong Jedi character. But I think one thing, and this is my interpretation, but she wasn't trying to kill that woman. I forget her name. What was she? The commissioner or the councilwoman, I forget her exact title. She wasn't trying to kill her. She was trying to disarm her to get information. So I feel like once that woman got the best of her, and knocked the lightsaber out of her hand, she switched up her stance and she went on the offensive. And I think that was the difference.
No, I'd agree with that. I think she was being much smarter. I think she was buying time. The people potentially were escaping. It was a bit more of an honour fight than just I'm going to come in here and kill you. It was set. You know, I'm going to at least duel you a little bit because that's what's been called for here. Gain information. She knew obviously Mando was doing stuff with other people. So no, I think she was just playing smart there. Yeah, I think that was just her being aware of everything. I actually really love her as a character. I think she's amazing.
No, absolutely, mate. You're going to love the Clone Wars then because it really shows her development. You know.
I wonder if obviously we don't really know, but when Grogu was telling you about his name and stuff as well, if he said how he got out and stuff, because obviously I don't know a lot about this storyline, but if he survived Order 66 and he survived in there, that might be a conversation for a different show. I don't know when you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean,
does he remember that? If Grogu remembers that, did he tell us? Sonu, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I think she says that. Does she say something on the lines of he got out of there, then it goes dark for a long time? Something on those lines. So I don't know whether.
But he does remember a Jedi or something. I can't remember actually. We'd have to check that. Yeah. I'm sure she says he remembers. Yeah, he remembers the dark period.
Yeah. So whether he's kind of blocked it out, and also he's essentially still an infant. So perhaps. Yeah. I like if you could.
But if he's potentially been training with someone for a couple of decades though, because he's still 50, isn't he?
He's 50, you know what I mean? But out of his lifespan, say he lives to what did Grogu live to? Maybe about 700 years, something like that. Yeah. I think that's about right. So you got to think out of his lifespan. What's that put him relative to a human's lifespan? That would probably only put him at 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
So you got to think. Obviously, he's more self-conscious and more aware of what's going on, but he's still very impulsive and he's still very infant-like. So you got to think if he was maybe 20 or YouTube comments do not kill me for not knowing this, but however old he was when he got out of the Jedi Temple, maybe it was 20. Was it 20 years, 30 years before that? So anyway, so Grogu might have only been 20 or 30.
Yeah.
So that would have been a real infant, so he might have only just started his training, and maybe his memory wasn't complete, is the point I was getting at.
But do you think there's times in this first and second series he's used his powers, but the first time he's using his powers, though, or do you think he was learned to do some stuff and then he had his memory sort of blocked on purpose? Maybe someone who saved him wasn't one of the Jedi, perhaps. It was one of the Sith or something, do you know what I mean? And that's why they knew he even existed, and Moff Gideon's after him and stuff like. So he might have been doing stuff at 20.
Yeah,
I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know what people are saying. Nothing's guaranteed, isn't it?
No, of course, it's all speculation, but I would say, in my opinion, I believe that there's something special about that species.
Yeah, 100%. No. Is there 3 of them or 4 of them in the entire history?
I think 3 so far. You got Yaddle, who was on the Jedi Council, but then she disappears after Episode 1. You got obviously Yoda, and then now we've got Grogu. So,
in there an old one written in history?
Sorry, you're correct. There was one of those species, I don't know his name, on the Jedi Council in the Old Republic, Republic games, but Knights of the Old Republic isn't canon, so we're not guaranteed. Generally, canon, the way canon works is if it's not directly contradicted in the new canon, then it still exists. So as it stands right now, the Old Republic is in this weird space where it's not officially canon, but it does still exist in the Star Wars universe because nothing has come out to contradict its existence. Yeah, and also Darth Revan and I believe Darth Malak, I could be wrong about that, but were referenced in Revenge of the Sith, so they existed, so it's virtually canon, but at some point if they bring out a trilogy of Old Republic films or a TV show, that's when things might get, or even in the new High Republic stuff, it could be contradicted and stuff there, but yeah.
I mean, before we move on, this is mainly about the Mando. Who do you think, if you had to put money on now, who do you think saved Grogu or got? If that's going to be the storyline, I should assume it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's people.
I mean, I did mention Obi-Wan to you, didn't I? But that's just but because he's got a series, I could imagine it being on there. But I don't.
I can imagine it being teased, if not revealed, during the Obi-Wan series. I don't think it was Obi-Wan because his kind of escape from Coruscant after the Jedi Order fell is pretty well documented. You know, he left, Yoda left, Grogu. Well, we didn't see him, obviously. You know, but whether they can kind of, what's the word? Retcon. That's what it says. You know, whether it's retcon that it was hidden away, and you know. But I don't feel like it's going to be somebody so obvious. A part of me would like Anakin. To have spared him when he killed the younglings. And
I could see that. And wiping his memory.
Yeah, but then you've got to bear in mind that Yoda and Obi-Wan watched the security recordings of the younglings getting killed, so they would have seen that, because that would have been quite relevant. Well, he hasn't completely turned to the dark side yet, because Luke spared Grogu. So, but again, if we're talking about retconning, there's no reason why Anakin didn't leave the room and then come back and be all like, Grogu, go away. You know what I mean? So, but part of me feels like it's going to be something. It's going to be something else. Yeah, I think it's going to be something a lot less connected to the main storyline. Like even something crazy like Grogu was hiding a cleaner. You know, just some obscure reason why this person got him far away. I don't know, bro. It's going to be real. It's going to be real.
That's what your money would be on. Something like some really just to not have to play with any of them sort of storylines where it's someone really important and they've got to sort of show it and justify it and prove it. I think it's just going to be a bit more of a long shotty thing that's a bit more easier to explain.
I feel like if any of these characters knew Grogu was either alive or existed at all, then it wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't make sense for nobody to have mentioned him ever.
Yeah.
You know,
because he's pretty significant. Obviously, everyone's the species he is. Never mind just someone being a Jedi or Force sensitive, whatever.
The obvious answer would be that he's Yoda and Yaddle's secret child.
Yeah,
and it was a secret because obviously they're not supposed to form attachments and relationships.
Yeah.
Yaddle disappears after the Phantom Menace, so that would be around the time that, you know, maybe they had a secret child. Maybe Yaddle came back for him. Maybe he was never even at the Jedi Temple during Order 66. Maybe Yaddle and Grogu were long gone by Order 66. I don't know, man. It's going to be so interesting finding out, though.
Definitely.
You know what, bro? Slight tangent. We'll get back on Mandalorian in a second, but part of me feels like this could be like the golden age of Star Wars.
Honestly, if you play it properly, it could have been for me, even with the films. We're not going to go over that line, but the universe is set up for this thing. You could have 20 or 30 different things popping off with really good storylines. You've got enough people making up. The thing that everyone was saying a couple of years ago when the films weren't doing as good as they should is people have got too much Star Wars. I'm not even a massive Star Wars fan. I don't believe there's such thing as too much Star Wars.
No, I agree.
I'd eat it up all day long, and I'm not even a huge. You know, I'm not.
Yeah,
but it's good.
And it's something that I touched on the SkuberFacts show, where Luke, the whole list of shows and movies and books are coming and whatever. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming, and I don't necessarily feel like every Star Wars fan has got to love every part of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It'd be nice just to have a nice, consistent sort of. You know, I don't know. Some consistency over the general feels of them all. So you want them all to be. Even now, I want to say because we've got animation Clone Wars that match up with big film premieres that now match up with this. So I can't even judge that it should be one sort of filmed in one sort of way or anything. I don't know. But
on top of what he's saying, I do agree. There needs to be somebody at the top making sure that nobody goes down any crazy, stupid directions. Like the films, the sequels. Me personally, I like them. Yeah. I like them. I watched them recently. I still watch them. I watched them multiple times. There's, The Last Jedi had the most ridiculous Star Wars moments for me when Leia got shot out of the bridge of that ship and went floating off through space like Superman. That's ridiculous, man. There aren't many Star Wars moments that get me feeling like that. Generally, I can just accept it like, okay, maybe that's not for me, but that's somebody's favourite bit. But that bit was ridiculous. It was stupid. But anyway.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. That sort of, as long as they can make sure that sort of silly little bits don't happen, where it's just because there's a lot of them ones like where there's obviously people working on it that don't actually know that much about Star Wars. I did watch it, it's not something I noticed, but how people were talking about. They didn't get some of the lore correct, like they didn't missed out some of the little things that they should know about that happened in the, you know what I mean? Because they weren't huge Star Wars fans, they had other things in mind when they were making that film or moments of that film. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, one point is obviously it's R2D2, which is like obviously the main Luke's robot and that. But it's almost like in the films they were trying to make his C-3PO was the sort of main thing, like, and it's just he had more scenes, he was everywhere. It's like they didn't understand some of the basic fundamentals of what Star Wars was. Do you know what I mean? In some moments for me, and I'm not a big Star Wars guy, like I say again. I mean, just seems to miss the mark on a few weird little things like that.
Yeah, I mean,
just generally how Luke acted and behaved was a bit, but maybe we'll understand why now with the series. But, but even then, will it justify as much as, you know, I mean, I don't know.
Here's the problem, really, when it comes to Luke. And we might as well get on to Luke in a second, actually, because since we've segued into it.
The only episode we'll miss if we do that is sort of the way with Bill Burr, isn't it? Like, but I want to talk about Bill Burr separate as well.
Let me just make this Luke Skywalker point, and then we'll go on to Bill Burr, because I love Bill Burr and I want to talk about
it. Definitely.
Seeing Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, some people really felt betrayed. Like, what have you done to our beloved Luke Skywalker? But you got to bear in mind, the Jedi were up to some real hinky stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and at that point in Luke's, what would you call it, a career? I don't know, life. At that point, Luke's learned so much, he's experienced so much, he's had his pupil turn against him, and you know, not only a pupil but a family member, and it's like, I can accept that maybe a large chunk was missed out. But to say that they've ruined Luke Skywalker was unfair, because that, for me, it would make perfect sense how a Jedi could almost see the light and become disillusioned with the whole thing that he's devoted his life to. You know, I don't know if that made any sense, but
I think what the storyline could have been fine. I think it's just maybe the way some of the scenes were filmed and some of the way he was made out to Luke and stuff. The little things like there was the when he was milking that alien and stuff, just little weird things that could be memed. It was obvious that was going to be ridiculed. Like make him be a disillusioned old Jedi that's had bad things happen and he really don't know where he's at. But you didn't need to sort of, I don't know, you didn't need to sort of make him a joke.
He was intentionally doing that, wasn't he? He wanted to come off as eccentric. He wanted, okay, you're going to follow me around. You're going to watch me milk this crazy seal animal thing, you know? So, but I know what you're saying. Right, let's go on to Bill Burr, man.
Yeah, well, and his episode was good. That's because anyway, because we'll talk about, we've got to talk about the last episode as well. So Luke will come back up.
Sure.
So no, it was a good episode, man. Quite like that one. That was interesting. It's a sort of political thing that was about moving lots of resources and money away from sort of poorer people, and then sort of kept attacking the thing that was nice. So it's good to keep things relevant as well.
And it's interesting. The subtitles called those attackers pirates.
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious they weren't pirates. It's pretty obvious they were, freedom fighters.
On their own land, defending their resources.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting point. But I suppose if you were looking at it from the Empire's point of view, the pirates. If you're looking at
100%,
if you're looking at it from a native, if you're then they're your heroes. You know that they're your Luke Skywalkers and Han Solos. You know what I mean?
It was a good episode though. Like I like Bill Burr anyway.
Yeah. What did you think of his arc? What do you think of his story arc?
It's great. It's good. I mean, I think I did mention it, but we'll talk about it now. Him having a series and stuff, because where he's at now, like he's out of jail. He doesn't exist paperwork wise and stuff. Apparently, what they said, and he's now having. He's been one of them bad guys, but now he's a bit disillusioned with a lot of things and stuff, and he's set up potentially to do a lot of good. He was good, man. He acted amazing. Actually, he's one of the best actors in the second series.
Absolutely killed it.
He did amazing. I mean, that some of them scenes and stuff when he shot that guy and stuff, and it was great. It was funny. Really good.
It was funny. He was talking on the Bill Burr podcast with him and Bert Kreischer, and he was saying he was at dinner with Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau said, "Oh, I've got this part I want you to play in the new Mandalorian season, and Bill's like, I've spent years shitting on Star Wars, not because I don't like it, but just because I'm a comedian, people enjoy things, I'm going to shit on it. You know, that made me laugh. He said his wife's kicking him under the table saying, take the job, this is Star Wars, you know, but he did a great job. It made me laugh though. He said he hadn't actually watched it yet, you know, but I think he watched his episode, but he hasn't watched the season. He says it's on his list. But the thing is that man, Bill's just a normal guy. He's a comedian, but
that's what I mean. That's why if he was the sort of guy who watched every episode of Star Wars and he loved the show, he wouldn't be able to play that character. He would have been a bit too giddy and stuff, dude. He come into it as a job, man. He knew he had to turn up because how much money he probably got paid and how much his money's worth and stuff. But to him, it was just a gig he had to make.
I wonder if that's reflected. I wonder if you got it, you know, hit the nail on the head. I wonder if that's reflected in his performance.
100%.
Because you got to think, because that's what Mayfeld was doing. You know, he had no greater knowledge of what their expanded universe was. He was just thrown in that situation, performed well. He didn't even think he was getting away at the end of it. He just thought, you know, maybe I get lucky and these guys all get killed and I can walk off. That must have been what he was thinking, you know. So I wonder if kind of that's interesting, man.
No, I think it was the mentality of him going into it that made the character as well. Like, it matched sort of up. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't sort of bloke who was getting giddy with all the sort of the bad guys versus the good guys and all this sort of stuff. He had enough of all that sort of stuff as well. He was just business, man. And he was in jail for what he thought for a long time. Just earlier in the episode, like, you know what I mean? It changed. Just hitting rocks.
To answer your question, I don't think he's a strong enough character to have his own show.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, man, I'll watch 8 episodes.
That's what I mean.
That's what I would be on. But you know, if we're talking mass appeal, you know, but then they could build a show around him if they want to. But I think he could be the most real character in the galaxy. Sure. Because Star Wars is amazing, but it's difficult to relate to anyone. You can't really relate to Jedis all the time necessarily, or even the Sith, even though you might have bad and good thoughts and all that. It's hard to relate to a lot of the aliens and all the frog people and stuff. It's hard to relate to. It's hard even to relate to a lot of the humans in there, because some of them live in desert towns and they with 4 moons, and we've got. I don't know. It's just like their sort of lifestyles. All the culture's different, but I mean, you can relate to Bill Burr. Yeah, man.
He's just almost like one of us. He's just one of them. He's just a bloke that lives but he just so happens lives in the Star Wars universe. He's just a bloke.
I think he'd be a very strong reoccurring character. I think we'll definitely see him pop up.
Yeah, I hope so.
Bill Burr was saying people are asking him, "Are you going to be in season 3?" And he's just like, "No." But you would never know, would you? I mean,
no, I hope so, man. I honestly, so. I think that was one of the best episodes.
Yeah, or if not season 3 of Mando, there's plenty of other shows.
Or whatever timeline matches up now, right?
He would probably pop up well in what's it called, Rangers of the New Republic show. You know what? It's kind
of that match up timeline there.
I mean, I think from what I can tell, the Ahsoka series and the Rangers of the New Republic are kind of spin-offs of Mando, so they're all going to kind of happen around that same time, you know. Cool. That's real interesting, man. Okay, so I think time's against us, bro. We're slowly, the clock's ticking. So let's get on to that last episode, because that could be a whole video in itself. So let's.
I honestly think the first series was better, but I think the last 10 minutes of the last episode of the second series was some of the best Star Wars moments in history, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, if not some of the best TV moments in history. I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I can't look at it subjectively. So if you weren't a Star Wars fan, would you?
I'll take that. I'll take that.
But no, I mean, I was not prepared for that last episode. I'll be honest with you, bro. I mean, tell you what's crazy. With having like a 9-month-old daughter, it's like having a little Grogu running around. All she needs to be able to do is make things float and whatever. Even the noises that she makes. So, you know, seeing him getting stolen, seeing him getting rescued, and seeing him choosing to leave, that was a roller coaster, man. It was.
Yeah, no. It was a good episode, a good final with all the Death Troopers and everything as well. Sort of build up. Yeah. Mando beating him, like a bit of unfinished business with who's going to get the Darksaber and stuff with Bo-Katan and Mando and stuff, and then obviously build up to Luke, man. And I mean, I don't know loads about, but I mean, did you know as soon as you saw the X-Wing? I mean, I sort of did, but only because I don't know enough to know anybody else who would have just been on an X-Wing almost like. And obviously, I watched it a little bit after, so I heard people saying Luke. I'd done dead well with spoilers. I'd avoided a lot of them, but it's just for me, it was like I was struggling to have many other options, but when I've watched like videos since and people's opinions and reactions, even on people who know a lot more about Star Wars than me, they had a few people that thought, could it be this, could it be this, could it be this, because they knew more than me, like almost. I almost only had one option in my head because of that.
I was sat there and I was thinking, man, I mean, if it wasn't an X-Wing, I'd be thinking that was Ahsoka Tano, you know?
Yeah.
But now I was kind of going through it in my head. It was just like, well, it can't be Ahsoka Tano. She's never had an X-Wing as far as I'm aware of, you know? I mean, to be fair, the whole time.
When did it click? When would it click for you? When was the definite moment? Because you were watching live as well. I did rumours and stuff, and I'd been bits. Of, when did you like? That's definitely Luke Skywalker.
I don't remember what came first: the green lightsaber or the one black glove and the one human hand.
Yeah,
whichever one came first. I think I've got a feeling that it goes around the same time, and I was thinking, okay, green lightsaber. Is this Luke? This has got X-Wing. Is it Luke? But then, I'm thinking to myself, do you know what my thoughts were? It would have leaked from the casting if it was Luke, and maybe it had. Yeah. Maybe it had, and I just because there's certain videos I don't click. I don't click on a lot of the rumor videos and stuff, and you know those headlines. I mean, I subscribe to a couple of guys, and the headlines I hate them, and it's always like you'll never, you know. John Favreau says this about Kathleen Kennedy. This is huge, and I'm just like, and I remember seeing a few months ago about Luke Skywalker recast and stuff like this. So I just left it. But yeah, it got to a point where it's just like, this is Luke Skywalker. And then when that hood came down, man, I was happy. I was happy.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
The way you went through those battle droids, Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Did you think
it was too easy?
No. I think it was poetic, man. It was beautiful. Like, I mean, it should have been that easy. Like, even the best one was the crush at the end, because like he'd done all the hard work of trying to do it like sort of nice and smooth, almost like a respectfully, respectfully almost. You're killing people. You're killing not people, but you're shooting it now. That last one was a serious. That was obviously getting his dad a little bit. That was a bit like
that was cutting off his head and putting it on a spike for the villagers to see.
Yeah, that was a real nasty one. So maybe that shows he was a bit pissed off. Like that was an interesting one. That was. I thought I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah,
everything else was all like a samurai, respectful slices, and you know what I mean, and just That was it was interesting, man. It was cool. It was a good kill.
A guy commented. Big Baz commented on one of the previous videos. Shout out to Big Baz. I think he's commented a couple of times, so he might watch this one as well. You know what I mean?
Alan.
But he mentioned that he thought he should have been a bit tougher for Luke to get through. You know, essentially, it kind of felt like they were walking onto his lightsaber by the end of it. But I wonder if they just weren't programmed and weren't prepared for a Jedi, because you've got to think, they can shoot, but if you're talking one-on-one close range, you've got to think they'd be programmed to have the upper hand on any opponent. Yeah. So you've got to think maybe they're walking into it thinking, I'm going to crush this guy in between my arms, and then he's whipping out a lightsaber and slicing him up like butter. You know, it's...
No, I can say that, because I assume like when we get to that point and we do that sort of stuff, the best fighters in the world will be hired to fight sort of droid a little bit, or at least get it on videotape and analyse and all that data, because they are fed all that, and then they can tell you that and react to what they think a human's possible. But they've never, I'm sure, I don't know, would the programming would have ever even thought about coming against at his peak Luke Skywalker? I don't know. Is that a level that even their program wasn't ready for?
Or a Jedi, you've got to think it was widely believed by the Empire. I don't know to what extent, but they exterminated the Jedi. So why would you put in contingencies in case you needed
to kill another one? Yeah.
And probably.
I don't think they were ready. I think that's why they walked.
And I would imagine just if you're creating a weapon of this kind, a Dark Trooper, you'd probably have that arrogance where, well, okay, maybe one-on-one, but throw a Jedi against 4 or 5 of these and they've got no chance. You could, if you've never really been put in that scenario, I mean, how'd you test against that,
Yeah, no, 100%.
But no, it's interesting.
If he has got the power to crush one in his hand, that last one just for fun, I don't think he's got any issue slicing through the 19 before. I think that's for me. Like, I mean, if that was the fact that was the last kill almost retroactive decided a lot of things for the 19 kills before. That's what I'm sort of saying.
Yeah.
The rest was respectful in the end.
Yeah,
I would agree with that comment.
Yeah.
So it was very, very easy. Was it too easy? It was respectful. He was just doing these. It was that game. I don't know. It was really weird. And then the last one was like, oh, okay.
I just think it was amazing seeing, full Jedi Knight, if not maybe Jedi Master Luke Skywalker post Return of the Jedi. Still, it was just. I think that's what people wanted to see in the Last Jedi. That's the Luke Skywalker we wanted to see because we'd never seen it.
Yeah.
And everybody's grown up, for the last 30 years, longer, of imagining what Luke Skywalker went on and did after Return of the Jedi.
That's right. He was a hero built on potential.
Yeah.
Not even seeing out a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess when you built yourself up for that long. Not to mention all the expanded universe stuff, which is no longer canon, in which Luke was just this, he was strong.
Yeah.
So then to see him as this eccentric man, drinking green milk,
cave person,
yeah. So you can, I get why people are upset. For me, it didn't really upset me. I mean, but yeah, that's a different conversation. So what do you think? Yeah. What do you think? We're gonna have to close this up soon, bro.
Cool.
What do you think about Grogu choosing to go with Luke?
I mean, a lot of people were complaining, how did Luke even see him? And did you not watch the episode when he was sat on that rock and talked to him? I mean, I assume I'm not even a big Star Wars fan, but then that's why he went to that rock, so he could get in touch with him.
Literally the reason. And
so from that moment onwards, Luke was literally beaconing in on Grogu. He was because he's next level, and he sensed him then. He was just he was on his way.
Yeah.
From that moment,
absolutely.
So why were people confused about that then?
Well, I don't know about that thing specifically, but I saw a lot of people saying, well, the whole season had built up the relationship between Din and Grogu, and how Grogu didn't want to leave.
Okay.
But that moment where Grogu's got his hand on the screen and he's watching Luke going through the Dark Troopers, and he looks at Din Djarin like, he's here for me. He knows. And he makes that choice. And if Grogu didn't want to find a Jedi, he wouldn't have sent out that message. Ahsoka Tano made it clear to Din, you take him to this place, and if he wants to, he'll send out a message, and maybe a Jedi will come.
And he was definitely sending the message because he tried to stop him multiple times. He wasn't definitely
exactly.
My man was finishing his business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, it was hard. It was hard seeing it because this is the show, but.
I almost think he might not have gone if he had took his mask off. That's what I mean. He was in control of the situation. Grogu, he wasn't he was all done above board, man. I don't think people should complain about that.
Yeah.
Luke, Grogu and Mando all did the right thing in that situation. He showed in his face. Yeah. Grogu was then happy, there's been a closure, a lot of things, I know what my dad looks like almost. I mean, and then I'll see him again now, so I know what your face is, so I know we look forward, do you know what I mean?
I get people wondering, well, what's the show going to be without Grogu? But something else that people need to understand, this is essentially long form film. It's not let's commission 9 seasons of the adventures of Mandalorian and Grogu.
No.
This is a finite story to be told. You know what I mean? It's not the back of this time they can fly.
Comes back to a point we were making a bit earlier about that's why there needs to be an ultimate overseer, because I don't want anything go off in any little silly and make the whole franchise look silly again. Everything needs to be just keeping everything can do its own thing, but everything needs to be sailing in the same direction. We don't even know when you're going against the grain now, do you know what I mean? Because it could turn into something amazing, this whole thing.
As far as I'm concerned, everything moving forward needs to be executive produced by Dave Filoni.
100%. He's obviously proved himself.
He's the gatekeeper. Do you know what I mean?
He's obviously proved
himself. He's our generation's. Well, I mean, I guess George Lucas is my generation, George Lucas, but he's the modern day George Lucas. He's got a passion for it, and he knows it better than anybody else. And with Jon Favreau at his side as well, who's also a fan. It's just, I'm not saying that every show needs to be written and developed by them. It could be if we're going to have less shows, but if you want to expand into other things, you want to give different people a way to tell their story in a different way. I'm fine with all that. That's cool. But when it comes to the lore, don't mess it up. No. If you want to create a bunch of characters and have them do 70s dancing, you know what I mean? And do whatever they want to do. Like, I don't know, man. That's fine. I might not be into it, but if it's happening halfway across the galaxy and no one's even ever heard of Luke Skywalker where they are, that's cool. You can tell as many stories as you want, but if you're going to start messing around with what the core of Star Wars, that's where you need somebody at the top ironing out all the.
Yeah, we need one person signing off and everything. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe this is not a great example, but it's what seems to be happening like Doctor Who, and that's been the problem. I don't need an episode which like says that sort of it's just on any of these series where it's just sort of the story is like this one alien is being treated bad by other aliens because he makes them sit on the back of the spaceship. Do you know what I mean? That sort of silly level. Like we live it, but this is a Star Wars galaxy. There's genocide on a planetary universal level. Like I don't need these silly stories about this gay alien basically being treated bad by the straight alien. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I don't need that. That doesn't exist in this. There's so much bigger. There's so much more. Isms in this galaxy than that. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want that. I don't want to see that sort of stuff sneaking in on side series either, because that can make the whole thing look a bit silly again.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, bro, I do stand by my point on that. If you want to do that stuff, man, just keep it away from our main series stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If you think that what you're doing is for the right reason, and you want, whether it's inclusion or whether it's whatever your motives are for doing this, if you want to make a season that is basically a bunch of commentary on our society, like then.
Well, that's good. There's a lot of commentary on society in this series.
I mean,
but it's just I just mean done in the right way. That's all.
I'm not gonna waste my time hating it.
No.
But no, not you, Siri. Don't worry.
So they did it well. They did it well in this series. I suppose one thing that stood out to me is that Bo-Katan and obviously the two Mandalorians on that last episode. The man one wasn't there, and that was an issue. But that conveniently made that there was a sort of a 4-girl team. But they didn't make a big thing of it. They just 4 girls kicked ass.
Yeah,
no one looked at the camera and said, "We're 4 girls and we're kicking ass." I wouldn't have liked that. Yeah. It was just 4 girls kicking ass.
And also, it's still been set up properly and it's still relevant to the story.
It wasn't
like in The Last Jedi where all of a sudden every rebel officer is every resistance officer is like a woman and talking down, asking men virtually why they're mansplaining stuff. Like I tell you what, there's not a chance that mansplaining was not in one of the drafts for that scene. There's a very particular scene where what's her name? Is it Holden? I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
The woman with the pink hair and the long neck, like
Captain SJW.
Yeah. And she's talking to Poe, and she virtually says, "Oh, thanks for mansplaining that." And I'm telling you something, bro. There's not a universe that exists where that word wasn't in the draft. But I'm so glad somebody cut that shit out.
Bro, 100%. And that's a good example of what I was sort of saying just about this sort of the back on the bus alien. Like that doesn't exist in the Star Wars universe anymore. That's like a today problem. That's not an intergalactical, multiracial, multi-special, ethnic universe problem. That's what I mean. Mansplaining on spaceships isn't a thing.
The thing is as well, Leia was the general of that army. Yeah. And if she made a conscious choice to have female officers because they reflected the way she felt, I could live with that. But it's got to be fleshed out, and it can't just be dumped in there with no explanation.
No, 100%. I don't believe in that sort of universes when there's like female alien Jedi that are the strongest beings known in 5 galaxies reach, that there's still sort of pig-headed 18th century men. I don't believe that. I'm not having it, bro. Just don't bother. I just make good Star Wars.
No, I'm with you. So I guess that leaves us with what's next for Grogu. You know, like I've got a bit of a theory, and it's not. I can't take full credit for it. It's something I've read, which that's where most of it comes from.
Well, a lot of things I've probably said today. I've seen a lot.
A lot of season 2 was Grogu being left with a babysitter.
Yeah,
I mean, at one point he was kidnapped and wasn't even mentioned or seen for an episode because for a lot of season 2 he wasn't relevant to the storyline.
Yeah,
you know. So I have seen somebody say, "What if Grogu's basically just been Luke's just a season 3 babysitter?" and Grogu's going to come back. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I think it's certainly valid observation that Grogu wasn't really relevant that much in the whole of season 2. What do you think?
And he seems to be getting. He seems to be able to look after himself a lot more as well. For someone that he's babysitting a lot, he seems to be quite an independent sort of guy. Like, do you know what I mean? He seems to be able to do his own little bit. Like, do you know what I mean? So, but I imagine he's going to do some proper training with Luke, though. I imagine so, which would take a few years. Yeah, I mean, you'll know more than that on me. Like, how long should he train for properly? And the only reason I imagine he would,
bro, is the answer.
So the only reason I imagine he would come back into the series maybe the end of 3, not at the start of 3. I'd be very surprised. Because they've got to do the Darksaber stuff and everything.
Exactly, all the Mandalore stuff.
They've got to do a lot of that now. Like, there's some key things to sort of finish off there. Like, so maybe at the end is that if Mando gets in a real situation and he senses that and he brings them both, but then I imagine Luke could come with him again. Can I imagine Luke coming back again? I mean, Luke's there's a guy cast for Luke and potentially going forward.
And he looks pretty good.
Really good. So maybe that's towards the end of next series. Luke and Grogu come save Mando from something. I don't know.
How do you feel about jumping forward in time quite significantly?
No, that'd be like that. No, I wouldn't mind. That'd be cool. That would help.
Like, I like the idea of let's do the Book of Boba Fett. Let's do season 3, The Mandalorian. Then let's leave it 2 or 3 years, work on one of the many other stories, and then maybe call it 5 years' time. Let's have the story have progressed 20 years. We've got an older Mandalorian. We've got a more able and maybe more like a teenage esque Grogu.
Yeah.
I would quite like that.
I think you have to do that in the Star Wars galaxy because it's a galaxy set over billions of light years and over millions of years. You've got to skip time. We can't see what they all do every year.
And there's no reason why at some point those gaps can't be filled
with written stuff, comics, side series, books, and that. Yeah. Cool.
Right, bro. I'm gonna have to go. I've got family commitments. I can hear a baby.
Sorry, man. Cool.
So that was our little talk about Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Season 2, and other stuff. I mean, I like doing stuff like this, bro. I'd like us to have more conversational based stuff. Do you like us having more conversational based stuff? Drop us a like, drop us a comment, hit that subscribe, show some appreciation. It really helps. Any
comment down below, man. Yeah, watch some more videos, man. Help the algorithm, feed the algorithm.
Feed the algorithms.
Now then.
Cheers, guys. See ya.